Okay, good afternoon. Once again, we are going to end with our topic, controlling. We started it, we have talked about what monitoring is, we have talked about what controlling is, then we look at the steps involved or the activities involved. We also talked about the last time we met. Prior to that, we have talked about the characteristics of an effective control system. Then we have also talked about the control tools or control devices. And we learned about what the control tools are. We said they are the various techniques that managers use to control the activities of the organization. And remember, we said the tools are able to detect deviation so that the necessary corrective measures will be taken. So we talked about 10 of them: quality control, we talked about performance appraisal, we talked about standard costing or variance analysis, we talked about accounting ratios, we talked about audit control, and so on and so forth. We look at the Gantt chart, and then we also look at other aspects of it. Today, we are going to continue from where we ended, and that is the reasons for controlling. So I said by the lesson objective. So today we have one objective. We were supposed to have done that one on our second video, but time could not allow us. So that's why we are continuing. So by the end of this lesson, you should be able to state and explain at least 4 reasons for controlling. Why that function we call management, or that function we call management function, why that one? So let's go straight to the point. So reasons for controlling. Reasons for controlling. Number 1 is so obvious, it's very simple and straightforward, and that is to meet standards of performance. So you remember we said managers have what you call design specification. When we were talking about the tools, we said there is design specification. So you produce to meet the design specification. So control, the reason why managers put down control measures is to meet set standards. Remember, we said one of the first step in controlling is to set standard. So the manager wants to meet that standard. So because the manager wants to meet that standard, he will measure performance, compare the performance with the standard set, so that when there is any deviation, he takes the necessary corrective measures. So that is the first one, to meet set standard. Somebody may not want to put it that way. The person will not say to meet set standards. So you can say to identify mistakes and take corrective measures. So that can also be the point. You have set your standard, you measure performance so that you can identify mistakes, deviation from the standard, so that the necessary corrective measures will be taken. So that is that. So when you come here, if you look at this one, this is the point. There is a brief explanation to that point. So I said, you said to meet set standard. And how do you meet set standard? By measuring performance, comparing the performance with the standard set, and taking the necessary corrective measures in case there is deviation. So that is the first point. Now the second point is to avoid differences over methods of performance. To avoid differences over method of performance. You know, we have different people in the organization. You are not the only one there. If everyone is allowed to do what they want to do. Now remember, what control does is that it will set them, or to give out the method of performance. So the manager will also show you the procedure, how things should be done. And if everyone is allowed to do whatever they want to do, then individual workers will come up with their own methods of performance. And you see, we have individual differences. We have our personal limitations. So somebody may not be able to come up with the right method. and that can affect the organization. So control, we said, if you look at this, when they said it allowed the manager to come out with uniform procedures. And you know what is meant by procedure. So uniform procedure. When you say the procedure is uniform, that means we have one procedure and we all follow that one. So uniform procedures are set for the entire organization. One does not develop his or her own method. And so if you have a personal limitation, it will not affect the organization. So that is the second point, to avoid differences over methods of performance. The third one, very simple, straightforward, is to cope with changes. Now remember, when we were talking about business environment, we said that the environment is dynamic. The environment is not static. It is turbulent. Things change. When we're talking about planning, you plan all right, but things may change. And if you don't put down control measures, you will not be able to detect deviation, the changes that might occur. So controlling is done to cope. So you will be able to cope with changes. So when you come to the explanation, I said business environment is not static. This statement you already know, but turbulent. It means it is dynamic. Things change. When you're talking about business environment, we look at the economic environment, we look at legal environment, we look at social environment, and any other. And we said things change. So changes, there may be changes in respect of raw materials. What you might have estimated, things may change and you may not have it. There may be changes in respect of competition. So there may be more competitors in the industry and there will be aggressive competition. It's controlling that will enable you to detect that deviation. Then there may be machines breakdown. You might have not thought of that one. If you don't put down control measures, you will not be able to detect that one. There may be high interest rate that you might have not thought of, and other changes that may occur. So if you don't put down control measures to be able to provide the necessary corrective measures, then you will not be able to achieve your objective as planned. So that is the third one, to cope with changes. Then the next one is to controlling is done to ensure order and discipline. Why are we saying that controlling is done to ensure order and discipline? Look at what control does. It creates an atmosphere of order and discipline. Control creates an atmosphere of order and discipline. Why are we saying so? Because it keeps close check on activities of employees. Activities will be monitored so that deviations, once the employee knows that there is close check, there is that proper supervision, there is monitoring, then there will be order. People will not do things the way they want to do it. There will be order and there will be discipline. Discipline means you obey the rules, what you are supposed to do, you do that one. So to ensure order and discipline. Then the fifth one, to make efficient use of resources. Remember, when we say resources, we have human resource, we have material resource. So why are we saying that controlling is done to make efficient? So the key word here, we know what is meant by efficiency. We know the difference between effectiveness and efficiency. So we said controlling is done to make efficient use of resources, to make efficient use of material resources, to make efficient use of financial resources, to make efficient use of human resources. So why are we saying that? We said it avoids wastages. Control will avoid wastages in terms of human resource and then material resource. And that will let us have maximum use of our resources. So you know who is supposed to do what. You know there will not be wastages because you are monitoring operations. So any deviation will be detected. If you put down effective control measures, you'll be able to detect deviation so that there will not be wastage in respect of resources. Assuming you don't put down control measures to detect deviation and they have finished producing everything, then you realize that everything is spoiled. So it means you have wasted resources. What about the human resource? Once they know they are being checked, then there will not be what we call idle time for workers. Idle time. When you say idle time for workers, the time that the person is supposed to work, the person will not be working. But control measures will detect such deviations. And there will not be downtime for machines. What is downtime for machine? The time the machine is supposed to work, the machine will not be working because there is breakdown. If control measures are put down, you'll be able to detect deviation and provide the necessary corrective measures. So that is to make efficient use of resources. Then the last one is to improve employees' motivation. After this point, you know, before you left school, we did motivation. So you know what is motivation. And we talked about the types of motivation. So you understand what is meant by motivation. And you said controlling is done to improve employees' motivation. And then the question is how? So that is it. If you be able to explain anything of this, then you ask yourself, how is controlling able to do the one? How is the controlling able to do the two, the three, the four, the five, and then the six? To improve, how is it able to improve employees' motivation? Then we said controlling will set the standard. So the reason why it is able to improve employees' motivation is that it sets the standard. And then it also gives the method of performance. It will come out with the method of performance. Now, if you are an employee, standard has been set for you, so you are aware of what is expected of you. Then what to do in order to achieve the standard had also been given to you. So once you know that, then it will boost your morale. You'll be happy to work, to give up your best so that you can achieve the objective of the organization. So these are the reasons for controlling. Once you know these reasons, then you can turn these reasons into the importance of controlling. So we will not waste time here again to talk about the importance of controlling, because if you know the reason, remember the reason of doing something is to. So that's why we say to. But if it is important, for example, you come to the point that said that to ensure order and discipline. If you are looking at the importance of control, you not say to ensure order and discipline. You say it ensures order and discipline. It ensures order and discipline. So you can turn all these points into the importance of control. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of our lesson. But I'm going to give you a question that you should think about. Now, you are the manager of ABC Company Limited, and you are the production manager of ABC Company Limited. Explain to me how you control the activities of your workers, that is the factory workers, so that you can attain the objective of the organization. Explain how you control the activities of your factory workers so that you can attain the objective of the organization. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of our topic, controlling. We have talked about what is monitoring. Remember the topic was monitoring and controlling. So we learned about what is monitoring. We learned about what is controlling. We have also talked about the steps involved in controlling, the 5-step model, the 4-step model, We also look at the characteristics of an effective control system. Then we also looked at the tools or the devices or the techniques of control. We look at 10 of them. Then in this video or in today's lesson, we have looked at the reasons for controlling. Then the importance of controlling. Because once you know the reasons for controlling, then you should be able to also talk about the importance of controlling. Then I've given you a question that to the effect that you are the production manager of ABC Company Limited, and you are supposed to explain how you are going to control the activities of the factory workers. Then our next meeting, we are going to look at communication. Please remember, if you have any question, you can ask. If you have not subscribed, do that. Make comment for me to know you have watched this video. From here, I will provide that sheet where you are going to write your name. So when you finish watching all the videos under controlling, you come back to the WhatsApp to write your name that you have done that. But remember, before you come there to write your name, you should make a comment. Till we meet again next week on our next topic, communication. Bye-bye.